Okay, we'll start now. So today we are going to take up a new topic in Indian philosophy. The topic will be Sankhya and Yoga philosophy. Usually these two are joint systems, so we usually study together because a lot of common things are also there. Uh, Now, as I mean, my previous classes were, I have already taken up in Indian philosophy, Jainism, Buddhism, and then Nyaya Vaisesik. So now I'm taking up Sankhya and Yoga, and after that, we will take up Mimamsa, Vedanta, etc. After this, I'm planning to take classes for socio-political philosophy and philosophy of religion also. As you know, my previous videos and classes have already covered Western philosophy in a great detail, which can be seen on YouTube channel also, and the notes also have been circulated in WhatsApp and Telegram groups. So today we will start Sankhya-Yoga. But before I start, usually I keep on telling to students we should first analyze the syllabus and also previous year's questions so that we will exactly know what topics we have to focus on uh, that chapter or what subtopics basically we have to focus. So accordingly, today first we will see what is there in syllabus for Sankhya Yoga and how the previous year's questions were asked, and then we will identify important topics. What I'm going to do today is today basically Sankhya and Yoga philosophy basic details pertaining to their metaphysics, their epistemology, their soteriology, etc. I will be telling, and then in next class I will be taking up the important subtopics from these topics. So that also we'll identify today so that there's a clarity to the students that what topic I'm going to take up in next class. So now let us first try to analyze what is the syllabus and what are the previous year's questions asked as far as Sankhya philosophy is concerned. See, if you see the syllabus of this syllabus of philosophy of UPSC, in this if you see uh, item number 16 in paper 1 is for Sankhya. So, in Sankhya, the topics are Prakriti, Purus, causation, and liberation. Then, similarly, in Yoga, if you see Yoga, 17th topic, Chitta, Chittavritti, Klesha, Samadhi, Kaivalya. So basically, these are the important, I mean, these are the syllabus topics as far as subtopics as far as these two important chapters of Sankhya and Yoga are concerned. Now, let us see what are the previous year's questions, how it has been asked. In fact, I have analyzed about 12 years questions up to 2024 previous year's exam. So let us see what were the main questions asked. See, first is Sankhya's proof for existence of Purusa. So, three times it has been asked in 12 years. Then we'll see which are other important, more important topics. Then Satkaryavad, Sankhya theory of causation. This has been asked, you see how many times? One, two, three, four, five. So, almost five times. Then we will see another Sankhya theory of evolution of Prakriti and differentiate between Buddhi, Mahat, Ahankara, etc. In last year also there was a question, 2024, 20 marks question was there. So this has been asked about three times. So similarly, now we'll go to, if we go to Yoga chapter, the in Yoga first topic itself, what is bondage according to Yoga philosophy? Explain the method of attaining Kaivalya and Patanjali's Yoga Sutra. Yoga soteriology. So basically, Yoga soteriology has been asked one, two, three, four, five times. Then, if we see, explain the nature and levels of uh, Sampragnata Samadhi. So this has been asked about three times, 14, 20, 22. Then, if we see Yoga Chittavritti Nirodh or Chittavritti, this has been asked one, two, three, four times. Then again, critically evaluate the statement that Yoga Sutra's emphasis more on praxis, that is action, than theory, has been asked about 2 times. So basically, if you see, I mean, these are the important questions as far as the these two chapters are concerned. Now let us see what are the important topics which we can identify by this. So now in Sankhya, if we see, three topics I have identified, that is Sankhya theory of causation and its comparison with Nyaya theory of causation, because Satkaryavad and Asatkaryavad. So this we have to compare. Then conception of Purusa, which includes the nature of Purusa as well as the proofs for existence as well as other related items with respect to Purusa. Then conception of Prakriti similarly. All kinds of link issues with related to Prakriti we have to. Then in yoga philosophy, Chittavritti and yoga's Chittavritti Nirodh. So basically, these two, I mean, these 5 topics we are going to cover in detail. Next week we will covering all these topics, 5 topics in detail, quite detail we will cover, so that if any related question with respect to these 5 subtopics is asked, you are going to answer very well. Now we'll start with Sankhya and we'll complete today's class. See, as I told in the beginning itself, Sankhya and Yoga are related philosophical systems in Indian philosophy. Uh, a lot of things are common, but then a lot of differences are also there. In the due course, while today's class, we will understand that also. But to start, I will start with introduction, then metaphysics, then epistemology, then uh, other related things, their liberation, path of liberation, soteriology, and all those things we will try to understand. But today we are going to understand in brief. Next week, we will, as I have already told, next week we are going to take up the 5 related topics of the Sankhya and Yoga school in quite detail. And one class I am exclusively putting for that, so that all important subtopics are covered in that class. So today we will try to understand the basic tenets of these two schools of Indian philosophy, so that just to broad understanding we can have. As you know, Sankhya uh, is a Sanskrit word, comes from Sankhya, which means number or correct knowledge. And the founder of this school was Kapila, and it was further developed and systematized by Iswar Krishna. The main book of Iswar Krishna is Sankhya Karika. So basically, this we should understand, because this Sankarika, Ishwar Krishna is very, very important. And all these names we need to quote also while writing answers. So that also we have to very, very careful. Now, this school, Sankhya school, is very famous for first thing atheism, and then second thing is dualism. So this is very, very important, because they propound two independent realities, Purusa and Prakriti. And Purus is spirit or consciousness part of it, and Prakriti is primordial matter. So if you see, if you go to Descartes' philosophy, there also body and mind is there, and here comparatively, if you see, Purusha and Prakriti is there. So to that extent, I mean, these philosophies can be compared. Now we'll try to understand metaphysics first. So metaphysics is basically dualism of spirit and matter, because Purusha is there, Prakriti is there. So one by one, we'll try to understand what is Purusha and what is Prakriti, and how they interact as per the Sankhya school, and how the evolution takes place, how liberation takes place, what are the path to liberation, all those things we'll try to understand. Now, Purusha is basically pure consciousness, the unaffected by any change, action, or attributes. Now, this is the definition of Purusa as given by Sankhya. This for Krishna or Sankarika, in that book it has been mentioned. Now, it is passive. I mean, these are the qualities of, now we'll discuss a few qualities of Purusa. It's the passive, that is, it neither acts nor is modified. And they call it Akarta or Avikari. So this is again, all these Sanskrit terms also we need to remember, because these, as and when required in writing answers, we have to use that. Then, I mean, there are many Purusas, pluralities of Purusas. I mean, that also is very, very important characteristics of Purusa. There is not only single Purus, but there are many Purusas, each an independent and indifferent observer. But still, Sankhya, they don't say that Purusa and Jiva are same. So that Purus and soul, Jiva means soul, you can say. Now, they distinguish, I mean, there is a differentiation between the two. So, Jiva is the empirical self, a product of reflection of Purusa in mind, that is Buddhi. And what is mind and Buddhi? As we see, we will go to Prakriti. Mind and Buddhi is one of the evolutes of the Prakriti, basically. So, Jiva is an empirical self and product of reflection of Purusa in mind or Buddhi. So, they, in that sense, they differentiate between Jiva and Purusa. Purusa is the transcendental untable self, and this is empirical self. Jiva is empirical self. So, that extent we have to understand. Now, what are the key terms related to Purusa? That also we should know, because sometimes these terms are also asked, and we need to use also. All these are Sanskrit terms, and I mean, whenever we study Indian philosophy, Sanskrit terms will be there. Whenever we study Western philosophy, the Greek terms, Latin terms will be there, as we know. So, what are the key terms? Nirguna, that is without qualities. Akarta, Udasina, Nitya Mukta. So all these are basically different qualities or different names of Purusas. Now we'll go to arguments for existence of Purusas existence. So first argument, I mean, all these are again Sanskrit terms. So first argument is Sanghat uh, Pararthatva. So all compounds exist for another. So this is teleological argument. Then second is Trigunad Viparyat. That is, gunas need a witness beyond them. So this is a logical argument. Third is Adhishthanat. Coordination of experiences implies a conscious substratum, ontological argument. So if you translate all these, so one will become teleological argument, another logical, then ontological, then experiential, then mystical argument. Then next is Bhoktar Bhavat. Experience of pleasure or pain requires a conscious subject. Then Kaivalyarthat Pravrittescha. So striving for liberation implies a striving subject. So basically, these are arguments for Purusa's existence. Now we'll go to Prakriti. Prakriti is matter, primordial matter, as has already been told earlier. Now, Prakriti is basically unmanifest, eternal, unconscious, and dynamic material cause. So, this is the definition of Prakriti, cause of universe, that is root nature, a root cause of universe. Now, what are the constituents of Prakriti? It is formed by three gunas, Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. And it is ever active. It is continuously undergoing change and transformation. So, this is another quality of Prakriti. What are key terms related to Prakriti? Now, let us try to understand that also. First is Pradhan. And Pradhan is basically synonym for Prakriti. So sometimes in the questions are also it's asked, so that also we should know that it's same thing as a Prakriti. And what Pradhan means, chief primary substance. Avyakt, that is unmanifest, not yet differentiated into forms. Then gunas, as I told, Prakriti is constituted by three gunas. So what are gunas? Gunas means constituent tendencies or forces of nature, not mere qualities. And they are Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. Then Samyavastha, state of equilibrium. Samyavastha is state of equilibrium. When the gunas are perfectly balanced, Prakriti is unmanifest. Now, what are proofs of, for existence of Prakriti? Just like we have seen the proofs for existence of Purusas, similarly now we have proofs for existence of Prakriti. So again, 5 proofs are there. For Purusa also, if you remember, there are 5 proofs. Now for Prakriti also 5 proofs Ishwar Krishna in Sankhya-Yoga has given. So first is Vedanam Parinamat. What is Vedanam Parinamat? From limited, finite things postulate an unlimited source. Then Samanyat, commonality of pleasure, pain, and indifference in experience. Then third is All these are Sanskrit terms. I mean, and the meaning is also given. So, uh, karyat pravitrasya. That is, if you activity or change needs a substratum. Then another is karan karya vibhagat, separation of cause and effect. Then fifth is abhivagat vaisyo purushaya. Unity in diversity indicates one root cause. So all these are five causes or five proofs for existence of Prakriti, and in brief, what they mean has been mentioned. Now, what are various tattvas or various categories which are evolutes of the Prakriti also? Now, let us try to understand that also. So first is tattva. Tattva means a fundamental element of reality. Now Sankhya enumerates 25. So there are 25 tattvas in Sankhya school. First is Prakriti itself. This is the root or prime cause of further evolution. Second is Mahat, that is cosmic intellect or Buddhi, power of discrimination. Third is Ahankara, that is ego, principle, sense of I-ness. Then fourth to eight are called Tanmatras. And what are Tanmatras? These are five subtle elements, that is sound, touch, form, taste, smell. Then from 9 to 13, these are called Mahabhutas. These are five gross elements. What are they? Ether, air, fire, water, and earth. Then again, 14 to 18 are Jananendriyas, five sense organs, Gyanendriyas, hearing, touch, sight, taste, smell. So after Gyanendriyas, we have 19 to 23 Karmendriyas, five organs of action, that is speech, hands, feet, excretion, generation. And then we have Manas, that is mind, inner coordinator, and Purusha, another Tattva has already been Purusha and Prakriti is there, spirit or consciousness. Now we'll go to another important subtopic of which is very important. We'll again further we'll be actually dealing in detail Purusha, Prakriti also, and this third topic, theory of causation, that is Satkarva, that is doctrine of pre-existence of effect in cause. So this is Sankhya's doctrine of causation. This also we are going to study in detail next week. Today I will try to understand in brief what is that. Now Satkaryavad is basically the effect uh, exists in lament or unmanifest form within its material cause. Creation is not something new, but a manifestation of what was already potential. So this is called Satkaryavad. That result already exists in the cause itself. So it's not something new. So this is advocated by Sankhya school. Now, in contrast, briefly I have mentioned here Asatkaryavad also. Now, this has been advocated by Nyaya Vaisesika school, where the effect is a new creation, which is not pre-existent in cause. So this we should understand, because many times it has been asked to compare and contrast between two theories of causation in Indian philosophy. Now, what are the key technical terms involved as far as the theory of causation is concerned? One is parinama, that is real transformation or modification of the cause. Another is vivart, because vivartavad is also there, because in Advaita Vedanta we discuss vivartavad, apparent transformation, as in Advaita Vedanta, which is illusion, not a real change basically. And then upadan karan, that is material cause, is called upadan karan. Then nimitta karan. Nimitta karan is efficient cause, is called nimitta karan. Then for Satkaryavad, Sankhya has given five arguments. So that also we should try to understand what are the five arguments given by Sankhya as far their theory of causation Satkaryavad is concerned. First is Asat Karanat. That is, nothing comes out from absolute not being. That is, Asat is equal to non-existence. Upadan Grahanat. The second, all these are again Sanskrit terms, which I will briefly explained. You need to remember it, because whenever the Satkarva theory causation of Sankhya is asked and the proofs for Satkarva is asked, all these have to be written and narrated. So Upadan Grahanat. Only what is in the material cause can manifest as effect. Then sarv sambhava bhav. Only specific causes yield specific effects. Then example also they have given, only milk can become curd. It's water will not become curd. So I mean it's everything is not possible from everything. So that's what is meaning of the Sanskrit term. Then saktasya sakya karanat. Only a cause with the right potential can bring about a given effect. So this is the meaning of this Sanskrit term. Then karanabhat. The substitution of the effect and cause are the same. Cloth is not different from thread. So basically this is again uh, that effect is not different from the cause. I mean that's what it means. Now we'll go to evolution, another important topic in Sankhya school, cosmic evolution, that is they call Sarga and teleology. Sarga basically is the process of cosmic evolution from Prakriti, because Prakriti is the basic evolute uh, from which everything evolves. Now, Samya Avastha, as I've already told in earlier also, where when equilibrium of gunas, sattva, rajas, tamas, three gunas are there. So in Prakriti, when all these three gunas are in Samya Avastha, that is in equilibrium, so this is then the Prakriti is stable. But what happens? Virupa Parinama, heterogeneous change, disturbance in equilibrium leading to evolution. So disturbance in equilibrium of these three gunas basically leads to evolution. And Sannidhi Matra, mere proximity, the presence of Purusa activates Prakriti without actual contact. So this again, another theory Sankhya is given, that Purusa is not having actual contact with Prakriti, but only its proximity starts disbalance in equilibrium of three gunas, and evolution starts. And what is the chain of evolution? Let us see now that Prakriti, first evolute is Mahat or Buddhi, second is Ahankara or ego, third is Manas or mind, and then Gyanendriyas are there, Karmendriyas are there, Tanmatras are there, Mahabhutas are there. So all these, I mean, you have already seen the 25 evolutes are there. So basically Prakriti and Purusa, if you leave, then 23 are there. So all these are mentioned here. I mean, this is a sequence of evolution basically. Now, teleologically, evolution has a purpose, because evolution is not random. In Sankhya, evolution is having some purpose. And what is the purpose? Evolution has a purpose for Purusa to experience and ultimately achieve liberation. So, this is the teleology in Sankhya. And what is the, I mean, how they will achieve the liberation? By removal of or by avidya. So they say that avidya or ignorance is root cause of bondage. Now let us see what are the various problems or various critical issues coming up in Sankhya philosophy. First point is plurality of Purusa and related problems, because I mean Sankhya propagates that number of Purusas are infinite. So what problems it creates? I mean, let us try to understand. See, and Sankhya differentiate between Jiva and Purusa, as we have seen earlier. Jiva is embodied self, Purusa's reflection in intellect, mistakenly identifying with body-mind complex. So basically here, the main criticism of Sankhya school is empirical versus transcendental self. So Sankhya often confuses Purusa with Jiva. So many times if you see in the Sankhya philosophy, this kind of confusion prevails. So this is one of the important critiques. Now, before we go to further criticism, how Prakriti and Purusa interact and what is the problem, because usually this kind of these kind of interactive problems and interaction problems are in dualist philosophies, because we have seen in Western philosophy, Descartes also, when dualism is there, mind body is there, or consciousness matter is there, definitely there will be some problem how they interact, because whatever theory they propagate has some or the other negative points. So now, but before we go to that, let us try to understand liberation concept of Sankhya. Now, liberation or Kaivalya or moksha, as they call it, is complete isolation or aloneness. That is Purusa's realization of its distinctness from Prakriti and her evolutes. And this is achieved by Vivek Jnana, that is discriminative knowledge, the wisdom that I am Purusha, not mind, body, or ego. Now, liberation while alive is called Jivan Mukti. Liberation, if in disembodied form, is called attained after death, Videha Mukti. Now, Ananda or bliss, now Sankhya say that, I mean, because Vedanta philosophy, they say Satchidanand, because there Ananda and Satchit and all these things are included there. But here, what they say, uh, Ananda or bliss is not the nature of liberation. Purusha is beyond all qualities, including bliss. So this is the, I mean, in brief, liberation, because this also we are going to cover in detail on next class. But this in brief we can understand. Now, what are the technical terms related to uh, liberation? First is tapatraya. Tapatraya means threefold suffering. One is adhyatmic, then adibhautik, and then adidaivik. So these are three kinds of sufferings are called tapatraya. Then avidya or ignorance, mistaking the self for not self. Then viveka, that is discriminative wisdom, that is the which is the means of liberation. So these are the important terms related with this. Now, what are various kinds of critical views about Sankhya philosophy? Now, let us try to understand that. First is, as I told earlier also, there is an interaction problem. I mean, this is a very big problem. How can unconscious Prakriti and inactive Purusha interact? Analogies like magnet iron or lame blind are insufficient. I mean, they have given some analogies in Sankarika also, but those are not very convincing and not very, I mean, they are insufficient analogies and explanation as far as interaction, and there is a problem. Now, second is karma paradox. If Purusha is not an agent, why should it enjoy the fruits of action performed by Prakriti? So, this is again a problem. Then, negative conception of moksha. This is again a very, because just now we have seen that anand or bliss is not the quality of moksha here. So, liberation is absence of pain, not positive bliss, unlike Advaita Vedanta or Bhakti schools. So, here, I mean, this kind of concept is also criticized. Now, Advaita Vedanta basically advocates Vivartavad, word is an apparent, not real transformation of Brahma, so that anyway we'll see in Advaita Vedanta. But Nyaya also, as I told in theory of causation, they advocate the theory of Asat Karyavad, which is again not similar to Sankhya theory, and they are a severe critic. Basically, Nyaya or Advaita Vedanta have criticized Sankhya as far as that is concerned. Similarly, Buddhism is also different. I mean, these are comparative things I am telling, because Buddhism theory of causation is Kshanikvad, no permanent self or substance, Anattavad, so or Pratyut Samutpad. So all these are related to Buddhism, which can be compared as and when required in any answer as when we are writing in comparative philosophy. So basically, as we have seen in Sankhya, it's atheism, it's dualism, but Purusha and Prakriti are there. Then there are various proofs of existence for Purusha they have given, various proofs of existence for Prakriti they have given. Then theory of Satkarvad they have advocated. Then there is a liberation, path to liberation, and their soteriology is there. But a number of problems, a number of critical issues also we have seen, which in next class we will be taking up important topics. As I already told, 5 topics we will take from Sankhya and Yoga in detail, and we'll try to understand in very detail what are those topics. Now we'll go to yoga philosophy, because now that is also very related kind of philosophical system. Now, yoga or Yoga Sutra is attributed to Patanjali. Most of you may be already knowing it. So, founder of yoga philosophy is Patanjali, and author of Yoga Sutra also. Yoga, what meaning is there union or join, often interpreted in Vedanta as union of individual soul with universal spirit. Now, Patanjali's usage is not union, but basically in Yoga Sutra, as far as Patanjali is concerned, Yoga means control, restraint, or cessation of modifications, vrittis of mind, that is chitta. So this is basically yoga as far as Patanjali is concerned, leading to spiritual isolation or kaivalya of the self or purusha. So this is a definition from Yoga Sutra. What is its importance? I mean, of yoga philosophy. Yoga is primarily a practical discipline. I mean, whenever you hear about yoga in Indian philosophy or anywhere, this is related to this. Patanjali's yoga, basically. So, yoga is primarily a practical discipline for self purification and attaining liberation, combining ethical, physical, mental, and spiritual training. So, all these are component of yoga philosophy. Now, as I told, just like Nyaya Vaisesik, Sankhya Yoga are also joint kind of philosophy. And what is its relation with Sankhya? Now, let us try to understand how Sankhya and Yoga philosophies are related with each other, so that we usually study together. So, see, Sankhya gives basically theoretical framework, 25 tattvas or principles of realities, and dualism of Purusha, that is consciousness or spirit, and Prakriti, which is primordial matter. This is Sankhya philosophy. We have just now understood. This is Sankhya. Now, Yoga, what they do? They give practical method for realizing this dualism, adopting Sankhya's metaphysics and epistemology. So, to that extent, it's common. But then there is a difference also. What is that difference? But differ by accepting God as a special Purusha. So this is important as far as yoga philosophy is concerned, or difference between uh, yoga and Sankhya is concerned. But otherwise, it's they adopt their metaphysics, they adopt their epistemology, they give the practical path for liberation as given by Sankhya philosophy, but they differ that there is a God also, Iswara also, who is a special Purusha. Sometimes this philosophy, yoga philosophy, is also called Seseswara Sankhya. Seseswara Sankhya means Sankhya with Iswara. So this is a theistic Sankhya basically. So you can call Sankhya with Iswara is yoga philosophy, Seseswara Sankhya. So I mean, this is just to explain how these two are related with each other. So 90% they are same, but here it becomes theistic Sankhya. Now, what are the Yoga Sutra? Because Yoga Sutra, Patanjali is very, very important. You will be quoting almost in all the answers whenever you write about anything about yoga. So we'll just try to briefly understand what is there in Yoga Sutra. Now, Yoga Sutra is divided in 4 sections. Now, first is Samadhi Pada. Samadhi Pada, nature and goal of yoga, definition of, so these are included in that. Modifications of mind, means to attain Samadhi. Then another is Sadhana Pada, practice and means, that is Kriya Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, obstacles, karma theory. Then Vibhuti Pada, that is powers, vibhutis or siddhis attained through yoga. Then fourth is Kaivalya Pada, nature of liberation, that is Kaivalya, distinction of self and mind, transcendental realization. So these are 4 basically parts of Yoga Sutras. Now, what are the key concepts and technical terms which are often used in yoga philosophy, and also questions are asked mentioning these terms, which we should also understand and try to use also as and when we reply any answer with respect to yoga philosophy. First is Chitta. Now, Chitta is basically the mind stuff, or the internal instrument, Antahakaran, consisting of Buddhi, Ahankara, and Manas. So these are the constituents of Chitta. Chitta is the first evolute of Prakriti and predominantly Sattvic. So Chitta is mostly Sattvic because, as you know, there are 3 gunas: Sattvic, Rajasic, Tamasic. So this is Sattvic, that is pure and luminous. It is a material unconscious in itself, but appears conscious due to reflection of Purusha. So this is again another quality of Chitta. Now, what is Chitta Vritti? Because this is again another term which is often used in yoga philosophy. Vritti means modification or fluctuation. Any movement, activity, or transformation of Chitta is called Chitta Vritti. When chitta encounters an object, it assumes its form. This is called a vritti. So now we have understood what is chitta, what is chitta vritti. Now let us say 5 states of chitta. Chitta bhumi. What are 5 states of chitta? Now let us try to understand that. First is chipta, that is restless, dominated by rajas, constantly distracted. Second is moodha, or dull or torpid, dominated by tamas, ignorance and sloth. Third is vikshipta, distracted. Sattva begins to dominate, but mind is only temporarily focused. Then fourth is ekagra, one pointed, concentrated. Sattva predominates, mind focused on a single object, favorable for meditation. And fifth and last state is niruddha, restrained. All vrittis are stilled, mind is perfectly calm, and this is highest state. So niruddha state is highest state of chitta. Only the last two, that is ekagra and niruddha, are conducive to advanced yogic meditation and liberation. So this is again an important thing as far as yoga and Sankhya liberation theory is concerned. So because the liberation is achieved by yoga's meditation, advanced yogic meditation. So first chitta has to pass through all these 5 states, and then when last 2 states are reached, then they go for advanced yogic meditation. So, and that is path to liberation. Now, what are 5 types of chitta vrittis? Now, let us try to understand that also. First is pramana, that is right knowledge. That is valid cognition, includes perception, inference, and scriptural testimony. Now, second is viparya, that is wrong cognition, that is misperception, illusion. For example, rope is mistaken for a snake. Third is vikalpa, that is imagination or verbal delusion, conception used based solely on words, not on actual reality. For example, hare's horn. Then fourth is nidra, that is sleep, absence of content but presence of mental state. And fifth is smriti, that is memory, recall of previous experience due to retained impressions. Now, what are the various afflictions or sources of suffering? Now, let us see that also. So, they call it klesas. So, they are afflictions or sources of suffering. First is avidya, that is ignorance. Second is asmita, that is egoism. Third is raga, that is attachment. Fourth is dvesa, that is aversion. Fifth is avinivesha, that is clinging to life or fear of death. So, these are 5 main klesas of or afflictions or sources of suffering. These klesas cause bondage by maintaining identification with the mind-body complex. So these are the causes basically of bondage. Now, what are means of liberation? Now, let us try to focus that. And in Patanjali Yoga Sutra, as you might be already knowing, Ashtanga Yoga, eightfold path, is very, very famous. So here we will discuss that only. So, means of liberation, they have Ashtanga Yoga. Patanjali's yoga outlines a practical graded path, so which they call sadhana. Now, first of that is yam, that is restraints, ethical discipline. And these constitutes, what are the constituents of yama? Ahimsa, satya, asteya, brahmacharya, aparigraha. So this, if you remember, these are from Gandhian thought also. I mean, all these points are there. Then the second is yam. After yam, there is niyam, that is observance or personal discipline. This is called niyam. Now, what are they? Sauch, santosha, tapas, swadhyaya, and Iswar pranidhana. So these are again 5 niyams. So 5 yam, 5 niyam. And then now we'll come to asana or posture. Practice of stable and comfortable body postures to prepare for meditation and discipline of the body. So this is, then the various asanas are there, as you know already. Yoga asanas are there. And then fourth is pranayam. that is breath control, regulation of vital breath through various techniques to steady the mind and life forces. Fifth is pratyahara, that is withdrawal of senses from their objects, bringing senses under control of mind. Sixth is dharana, that is concentration, fixing the mind on a specific point or object. Seventh is dhyan, that is meditation, continuous flow of attention toward a single object, unbroken contemplative focus. And eighth is samadhi, that is absorptive concentration, merging of mediation, and object, state where mind is completely still and the self abides in its own form. So these are eight paths or Ashtanga Yoga. So these are the eight components of that yoga, if you remember. Now, what are various types of samadhis? Because we have talked last of this Ashtanga is samadhi. So but there are various types of samadhis, and this questions have been asked regarding various types of samadhis in actual exams. So this is also very important topic. So we should try to understand. First is sampragyata samadhi. What is sampragyata? Conscious or seated. There is awareness of the object, further divided into savitarka, savichara, sananda, sasmita. That is progressively subtler stages of meditation. So basically, I want to make clear, Sampragyata Samadhi is further divided actually in Savitarka, Savichara, Sananda, and Sasmita. So these are further sub classifications. And then another Samadhi is Asapragyata Samadhi, which is super conscious, seedless, no awareness of object or duality remains. All mental modifications are ceased, and this is the threshold of liberation, that is Kaivalya. So this is some Pragyata Samadhi is just nearing Kaivalya, threshold of Kaivalya. Now, what are metaphysical foundations of yoga? Now, let us try to, because most of the metaphysics is common, because here also same thing, Purusha, Prakriti, and all those evolutes are there. Only difference is here God is also included, and so we'll try to discuss why God has been included and what is his role. I mean, that is important as far as yoga philosophy is concerned. Now, Ishvara in yoga is a special Purusha, as already that is, he is called Purusha Vishesha, untouched by suffering, karma, or ignorance, and is omniscient, Sarvagya. So, this is the quality of God or Ishvara or Purusha, special Purusha, Purusha Vishesha in yoga. Now, what is its role? I mean, it's not just like other theistic philosophies. He is not a creator, not a preserver or destroyer, but a model and object of devotion. He aids practitioners as a spiritual ideal. So he doesn't create, because his creation, for creation, God is not required as far as Sankhya-Yoga is concerned. He is not preserver, destroyer, but he is a model and object of devotion. Aids practitioners as a spiritual ideal. So again, see, if you remember various theistic philosophies, now the god of yoga is also not nearing anywhere theism, because he is just like that as a special purusha, and he is basically an object of devotion to that extent, and that's all. Not either creator, destroyer, or preserver. Now, what are various proofs? Now, yoga says Vedas are the uh, written by God. Why? Because Vedas are infallible. Therefore, God should be its author. So, logical gradation of knowledge and power, necessity for explaining association of Purusha and Prakriti, efficacy of devotion. So, this is their logic for bringing God in yoga philosophy. Now, what is Kaivalya or liberation as far as the Sankhya, yoga philosophy is concerned? Now, let us try to understand that. Kaivalya is absolute isolation or aloneness of Purusha from Prakriti and its evolutes, because it is same as Sankhya, because there is no difference. It is achieved by discriminative knowledge, that is Vivek Gyan, and cessation of chittavrittis, that is complete stilling of the mind so that Purusa can avoid in its own nature. What is its nature of this liberation? Freedom from kleshas and karmas, not union with God, but realization of Purusa's independence. So this is same as Sankhya. So liberation is same. So this is the nature of liberation as far as yoga philosophy is concerned. Now, what are its yoga philosophy's various positive points and negative points? Let us in briefly we'll try to understand, because in detail we will be taking up in next class, where we'll take up the 5 topics, important topics, subtopics from Sankhya and Yoga. So, strength is first is practical systematic discipline for ethical and spiritual transformation. So, this is one of the strengths of yoga philosophy. Second, it harmonizes metaphysics and soteriology with their liberation theory. Third is it is recognized by almost all Indian traditions except Charvak, because Charvak they don't believe. So I mean, this is these are the positive points. What are various criticism and negative points as far as yoga philosophy is concerned? First is alleged focus on magic and supernatural powers, but Yoga Sutras warns these are distractions. So sometimes it's alleged because mysticism and supernatural powers um, uh, are gained by yogis after Ashtanga yoga and all those things. So this is one of the criticism. Then relation of Purusha and Prakriti and role of Ishvara are philosophically debated, because this is again very important criticism. Then goal is not here also mystical union, but a radical separation, unlike Bhakti or Advaita. So this again, their liberation itself is not very ideal kind of situation as far as yoga philosophy is concerned. So I mean, this basically we conclude yoga and Sankhya philosophy in brief. What we'll be doing in next class is, as I told, I will show once again what are the 5 topics which we are going to take up in next class, because that you should know. And then see, these topics will be taking up in next class. Just I will show you again once again. The first topic will be uh, theory of causation and its comparison with Nyaya theory, because these are 2 important theories. Second, we will be taking up conception of Purusa in detail. Third, we will be taking up conception of Prakriti. Fourth, Chittavritti. Then Yoga, Chittavritti, Nirodha. So these 5 topics we will be taking up in detail in next class. So uh, I hope today's class was good and you have understood Sankhya Yoga basic tenets. And next we will talk. Next class we will talking about these 5 subtopics in further detail. So thank you for joining the class today. Thank you to everybody.